Most people in the building saw him every day, but almost no one really noticed him. He arrived before sunrise when the sky was still gray and quiet. The city had not fully woken up yet. The lights in the offices were still off, the elevators were empty, and the hallways echoed softly with each step he took. His name was Min. He worked as a night security guard, a job that many people often ignored, a job that few people respected, and a job he never talked about. Every morning, when the first employees began to arrive, Min was already there, standing near the entrance, calm, silent, watching. Some people nodded politely as they passed him. Some avoided eye contact, and many simply walked by as if he was part of the wall. Invisible, Min never complained. He never tried to start conversations. He never explained what he did during the long, quiet hours of the night. Instead, he simply did his work, carefully, consistently, without asking for attention, without expecting anything in return. At night, the building changed. It became quieter, darker, more empty, but also more honest. Min walked slowly through each floor, checking doors, looking at security cameras, listening to small sounds that most people would ignore. The soft hum of machines, the distant sound of a closing door, the quiet movement of air through the hallways. To him, these sounds mattered, because in silence, small things became important, and small things could become big problems if ignored. He carried a small flashlight with him, not because he needed it all the time, but because he believed in being prepared. Always. Sometimes, during his break, he sat alone near the entrance, holding a cup of cheap coffee, watching the empty street outside. Cars passed by slowly. People walked home after long days, and life continued, without noticing him. But Min noticed everything. He noticed the cleaner who worked even later than him. He noticed the delivery driver who always looked tired. He noticed the old man who slept on a bench across the street. He didn't speak to them much, but he remembered them. In his own quiet way, he cared. To many people, Min was just a security guard, someone with a simple job, someone easy to forget. But what they didn't know was this. Min had been working here for over 10 years. 10 years of quiet nights, 10 years of watching over people who didn't know his name. 10 years of doing something important without being seen. And maybe he preferred it that way. Because for Min, work was not about recognition. It was about responsibility. It was about doing the right thing, even when no one was watching. But one day, something happened, something no one expected, something that would change everything. And for the first time, people would finally see him. That day began like any other, quiet, ordinary, unnoticed. The sky was still pale when Min arrived. He greeted the morning with the same slow steps, the same calm expression. Nothing seemed different, nothing felt unusual. Inside the building, the lights flickered on one by one. Employees started to arrive, some with coffee in their hands, some with tired eyes, some already busy with their phones. And as always, Min stood near the entrance, watching, silent, present. A few people nodded at him. Most did not. It didn't matter. It never did. By mid-morning, the building was full. The sound of keyboards filled the air. Phones rang. Voices echoed through the hallways. Life moved quickly. Too quickly for small details. Too quickly to notice anything unusual. But Min noticed. He always did. Around 10:20 a.m., something caught his attention. It was small, almost nothing. Just a man entering the building, dressed like everyone else, normal clothes, normal steps, nothing strange. But something felt off. Min couldn't explain it. The way the man looked around, too carefully. The way he avoided eye contact, too deliberately. The way his hands moved, too tense. To anyone else, it was nothing, just another visitor. But to Min, it stayed in his mind, like a quiet warning. He didn't react immediately. He didn't stop the man. He didn't make a scene. Instead, he observed, carefully, patiently. Minutes passed. The man walked toward the elevators, pressed a button, waited. Min slowly stepped closer, not enough to alarm anyone, just enough to see more clearly. The elevator doors opened. The man stepped inside. Just before the doors closed, Min noticed something. A bag, small but heavy, held too tightly, and for a brief second, the man looked nervous. Not just in a normal way, but like someone hiding something. The doors closed. Silence returned. Most people went back to their work, unaware, unconcerned. But Min didn't move. His eyes stayed on the elevator display, watching the numbers change. 1, 3, 5. Then, suddenly, it stopped. Not at a usual floor, not where most offices were, but at a quiet level. A place where few people went. Min felt it again. That quiet feeling. That something wasn't right. He picked up his radio, paused for a second, thinking, careful, measured. He didn't want to be wrong. He didn't want to cause panic. But he also knew something important. Ignoring a small sign could lead to something much bigger. He spoke softly into the radio, clear, calm, professional. Then he started walking, not fast, not slow, just steady. Each step quiet, each movement controlled. No one stopped him, no one questioned him, because to everyone else, he was just doing his job. But this time, something was different. This time, his quiet attention to detail was about to matter more than anyone could imagine. The elevator doors opened with a soft sound. The floor was quiet. Too quiet. This level of the building was rarely used. A few storage rooms, an empty office, long hallways with lights that felt slightly dim. Most people never came here. But today, someone did. Min stepped out slowly. His eyes moved carefully across the space, listening, watching, feeling. The air was still, but not peaceful. There was something different, something tense. He walked forward, each step soft against the floor. Then he heard it. A small sound, metal, a faint movement, coming from the end of the hallway. Min stopped, not out of fear, but to understand. He waited, listened again. There it was, a quiet rustling sound. From inside one of the storage rooms. The door was slightly open, just enough to see a thin line of light inside. Min approached slowly. No sudden movements, no noise. He reached the door, paused, then gently pushed it open. Inside, the man was there, kneeling near a large cabinet, his bag open, his hands moving quickly. Not calm, not careful, desperate. The man turned sharply when he heard the door. His eyes widened. For a moment, both of them froze. Silence filled the room. Then the man spoke. Too quickly, too nervously. I'm just looking for something, he said, but his voice didn't match his words. Min didn't raise his voice. He didn't step back. He simply looked at the man, calm, steady, observing. And in that moment, Min noticed everything. The sweat on the man's forehead, the shaking hands, the way his eyes moved, searching for an exit. Min spoke quietly. "This area is restricted," he said. "You shouldn't be here." The man stood up suddenly, too fast, his movements sharp, uncontrolled. He grabbed his bag, tried to close it, but something inside fell out. A small device, wires, unfamiliar, wrong. The room changed instantly. The silence became heavy. The air felt tighter. The man looked at the object on the floor, then back at Min, and in that moment, the truth was clear. This was not a mistake. This was not someone lost. This was something serious, something dangerous. Most people would panic, step back, call for help immediately. But Min didn't move, not yet, because he knew something important. Panic could make things worse, very quickly. Instead, he kept his voice calm. "You don't need to do this," Min said, slow, careful, each word measured. The man hesitated, just for a second, but that second mattered. Min took a small step forward, not threatening, not aggressive, just present, just enough to hold the moment. In his other hand, hidden from view, his radio was already active, connected, ready. Help was coming, but time was still fragile, and everything now depended on what happened next. The room felt smaller with every second. The man's breathing grew louder, faster, uneven. His eyes moved around the room, searching for an escape, for a way out, for control. But there was none, only silence, and Min, standing still, calm, unshaken. Most people would have spoken louder by now, given orders, created pressure, but Min understood something different. Fear could turn a bad situation into a disaster, so he kept his voice low, steady. "You're not alone," Min said softly. "We can fix this." The man shook his head. No, no, you don't understand. His voice cracked. Not angry, not violent, but broken. Like someone who had already lost too much. Min took another slow step forward, still careful, still controlled. I don't need to understand everything, he said, but I know this isn't the only choice. The man looked down at the device on the floor, then at his hands. They were shaking, not with power, but with fear and doubt. For a moment, the tension shifted, very slightly, enough for Min to see something deeper. This wasn't just danger, this was desperation. Something had pushed this man here, something heavy, something painful. But Min didn't ask questions, not now. There was no time, only this moment, only this decision. Far away, faint but real, the sound of footsteps. Help was getting closer, but not fast enough. Not yet. The man heard it too. His eyes widened again. Panic returned, stronger this time. They're coming, he whispered. I can't. I can't. His hands moved toward the bag again, quick, uncontrolled, and in that instant, everything could have gone wrong. But Min reacted, not with force, not with fear, but with presence. He stepped closer, just enough, and spoke one sentence, clear, firm, quiet. Look at me. The man froze. Something in Min's voice stopped him. Not power, not authority, but calm, real calm. Slowly, the man looked up. Their eyes met, and in that moment, the noise disappeared. No footsteps, no building, no world outside, just two people, one standing on the edge, the other holding the line. You still have a choice, Min said, soft but certain. The man's breathing slowed, just a little. His hands dropped slightly, not fully, but enough. Seconds passed, long, heavy, fragile. Then, the man stepped back, one step, small, but everything changed. His shoulders dropped. The fight inside him weakened. And then, he let go of the bag. It fell to the floor. The sound echoed in the quiet room. Final. Real. At that exact moment, the door behind Min opened. Security rushed in. Voices, movement, control. The situation ended quickly after that. But what no one saw was the moment before. The silence, the choice, the turning point. Min stepped back. Quietly. Like he always did. No rush, no reaction. As if nothing had happened. But everything had changed. And for the first time, people were about to see what had always been there. The building was no longer quiet. Voices filled the hallways. Footsteps moved quickly from one floor to another. Phones rang. Whispers spread. Something had happened. Something serious. But most people didn't know the full story. They only knew that something had almost gone very wrong. And somehow, it didn't. By the afternoon, small groups began to form. People talked in low voices, trying to understand, trying to guess. Did you hear what happened on the upper floor? I think security stopped something. I heard it was dangerous. No one was certain, but everyone felt it. The shift, the tension that had passed, and the quiet relief that followed. Min, however, returned to his usual place, near the entrance, standing calmly, just like every other day. No announcement, no explanation, no change in his expression. If someone looked at him, they wouldn't know anything had happened. But now, people were looking, really looking, for the first time. A woman who passed him every morning slowed down. She hesitated, then gave a small nod. Thank you, she said quietly. Min nodded back. Nothing more. A man who had never spoken to him before stopped for a moment. You handled it well, he said. Min didn't answer. He simply gave a polite, short smile. Because for him, it wasn't about being seen. It never was. Later that evening, when the building began to empty, the atmosphere felt different, softer, more aware. People greeted each other more gently, walked a little slower, as if something invisible had reminded them. How quickly things could change. Min began his night shift as usual, walking through the same hallways, checking the same doors, listening to the same quiet sounds. Nothing had changed, and yet everything had, because now the silence held something new. Respect, not loud, not obvious, but present, real. When Min reached the entrance again, He paused for a moment. The street outside looked the same. Cars passing, lights glowing, life moving forward. He held his flashlight loosely in his hand, then sat down for a short break, a cup of coffee beside him, just like always. But tonight, his mind felt lighter, not proud, not excited, just steady, because he had done what he believed in, quietly, without needing recognition, without needing applause, and maybe that was enough. Before the night grew deeper, one of the younger employees approached him. She looked a little nervous, but determined. I just wanted to say, she began, then paused. Thank you for what you did today. Min looked at her. For a second, longer than usual. Then he nodded. Take care, he said softly. She smiled and walked away. Min watched her go, then turned his eyes back to the empty street. For 10 years, he had done the same job. Unnoticed, unspoken, quiet. But today, people saw him, not because he asked them to, but because of what he chose to do when it mattered. If this story made you think about the people you often overlook, if it reminded you that quiet work can carry deep value, then maybe today, take a moment to notice someone you usually don't. Say thank you, offer a small smile, because sometimes the strongest actions are the quietest ones. And if you enjoy calm, meaningful stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because learning English can also be a way to understand people more deeply.